Metaphysics. The word metaphysics is from the Greek meaning literally after physics. It comes to us from the title used for some of Aristotle's works because they were usually placed after his works on physics. Aristotle never used the word. He used the Greek for first philosophy instead. Perhaps a better label for the content of metaphysics in truth. In a sense, metaphysics can be a statement of how one might begin. Now, there is, in a Popperian framework, no preferred beginning, that is true. We simply begin with problems and work towards solutions. But metaphysics in a rational worldview might simply entail little more than admitting objective reality exists. There are regularities in that reality, we can come to know them, and everything else better and better over time, and there will always be more to know. Now, none of those claims, like objective reality exists and there are regularities in it, are themselves part of science, morality, history, or anything else. They are simply one's working assumptions that science can work and progress can be made. Those need not be beliefs or faith claims. They can just be assumptions, never proved and never needing to be proved. It is just the assumption of realism and optimism. And on that basis, we can call this assumption of realism knowledge, genuine philosophical knowledge, genuine metaphysical knowledge perhaps. Genuine knowledge because it amounts to being a good explanation. To sum up, realism is the claim that reality exists. It contains things within it that we can come to understand better over time and without limit, and some of those things include principles, laws, and fundamental objects that reveal themselves through regularities in nature. Realism, coupled with fallibilism, says that the knowledge we construct could always be wrong because something exists we can be wrong about. And coupled with the ineffable nature of ultimate reality itself, this fallibility means our project of creating knowledge is unbounded. It will never end, so progress will not either, so long as we continue making good choices. But not everyone is a fallibilist realist. Some claim to hold metaphysical beliefs, claims about ultimate final reality in existence, beyond what science can tell us now, yet they say they know to be true now, or perhaps are confident in being true. Such beliefs often amount to the pessimistic claim that at least somewhere, somehow, knowledge creation and progress must come to a stop, because the ultimate answer is either knowable or knowable as inherently unknowable by living mortal beings. Yes, we can place religious dogma into this category. The idea that ultimately, finally, a supernatural world of final perfection exists beyond this one, where all souls go to be judged. This view is often coupled with the belief of a final perfect morality, which has likewise been revealed in a text by a being beyond space and time in a realm of perfection, and a careful study of those texts can, under some conditions, provide the faithful with direct religious insight into perfection, a perfection of such profound importance it may need to be defended to the death and spread by the sword. Such dogmas lead to tyranny, but they are merely a special case. Karl Popper remarked that, quote, "The doctrine that truth is manifest is the root of all tyranny," end quote. All tyranny. Anyone who thinks they have finally gained some final truth is liable to regard themselves as occupying a lofty place with respect to their fellows. They, after all, have been granted the ultimate knowledge, the special divine insight. And that insight may be a deep, important truth that, if not adopted by society, will lead to its ruination. And that is where the coercion begins. After all, if you think your neighbours are just so wayward in their error they could lead your immortal soul, and the souls of those you love astray, wouldn't you do extreme things? This is, after all, a concern about what happens in eternity. But such manifest truth is not only the domain of religion. Scientists, philosophers, and mathematicians alike have claimed at times to possess final truth. An entire tradition of mathematics and education would have it all students everywhere learn vast quantities of mathematics because it is critically important. These eternal truths, whether of any practical use to the student in life ever again or not, are manifest truth. And what could be more valuable inherently than learning manifest truth? We would not waste our time coercing generation after generation on the mere assumption of truth, would we? Others, well-credentialed intellectuals often, are perhaps more sanguine with their manifest truth. Some may assert they merely believe in all logically possible worlds, or that the fundamental nature of reality reduces to mathematics. They cannot prove it to you, they merely believe it. So, hint hint, perhaps you should too. But why? What are the reasons for adopting metaphysical claims as actual beliefs to be defended, rather than mere assumptions to be explained in order to make progress? Why postulate a thing which is an end in itself, an epistemological cul-de-sac where ideas go to die and no more questions need to be asked because no further progress can be made in that domain? If physical reality truly is all mathematical, for example, why can we not ask, why is it not otherwise? And how do we know? Why mathematical and not made of literal matter instead of literal number? Why not moral truth or aesthetic truth? Why, if all things are possible, are we restricted to mathematics? Among all those multiverses, can we not have ones that obey no mathematics? Could there be a universe that is nothing but a furious but giant green pea obeying no calculus whatsoever, except to maintain a state of eternal rage? A strange question, but insisting on final answers to things is apt to raise them. But only some metaphysical claims rule out questions at that point. Only some insist the truth is manifest, which is why there is a preferred stance for a realist here. We just don't know what the nature of ultimate final reality is. We can only guess at it. But happily for us, our metaphysics grants that each such guess, when subject to criticism, can lead to genuine knowledge, because that metaphysics, if we even call it that, is consistent with the rest of our outlook on these things.